do I do it on the first page or the... Guess what I've just done? Morning guys, today I am actually going to get my sketchbook out for the first time for a very long time because I'm going to be working on my spring daffodil collection and also my space collection that I want to release at the same time as well. If you watch my video about my planning and my business goals for 2024, you will have seen that I've already planned all my collections for the full year. If you want to check out that video, it's on my channel. Sometimes it changes in the year, like last year I ended up changing my daffodil collection to a sakura collection and I postponed the daffodil collection to this year. I bought this brand new Midori sketchbook, which is one of my favourite sketchbooks to use, and I also got this one, and I got them from when I visited Japan. I'm finally going to crack it open and illustrate in it. So this is what I used to use all the time. I used to always use sketchbooks from like 2017 onwards. Since having like my little iPad mini and my iPad, I just haven't used it as much because now I just do everything on my iPad. But I really wanted to try and get back into using my Copics and my pencils just to sketch things out. I just fancy doing it, so I'm going to plan my whole collection. The goal for this collection is pins first. I'm going to have pins in mind. Yeah, I want to draw little cute ducks. I want to draw Satsuma the cat, one of my characters, and Bumblebutt, one of my most popular characters. Let's go, shall we? First page of a sketchbook is always like the most nerve-wracking. First time even opening the sketchbook. Do I do it on the first page? Or that's the question. So silky soft, I love it. But if you use Copic markers, I will say if you use a Midori, make sure you put a piece of paper underneath, otherwise it does bleed through. Oh my gosh, I am so embarrassed. Guess what I've just done? I've just double tapped my piece of paper because I'm so used to like erasing things on the iPad. I literally pressed a paper, like double tapped it, and then remembered this is not digital. This is why I need to get back into sketchbooking, because I've totally lost it when it comes to sketching. Anyway, these sketches are looking so cute. I like to illustrate in like red pencil. I'm gonna do some more sketching. Yeah, that's better. Probably this one. So I finished a little sketchbook page. I actually started sketching my mouse mat ideas on the back, and then also this like girl thing. I don't know what I was drawing. And then I had to go home for the day. I love how cute this little mum and baby duck one is just here. I think I'm going to make this into a greeting card. It was really fun to get my pens out and stuff, but there is one thing, I'm going to be totally honest, that I've realised. It's when I'm actually developing a product, I like to use my sketchbook as a way to kind of plot out my product launches and like what I'm going to do, and just like sketch generally if I don't have a clear vision or idea in mind. But one thing I don't like my sketchbook for is when I'm developing like pins and stuff, because sometimes I want to move the eyes, or I want to like, I don't like move things around, make the wing bigger, make it smaller. And doing things in the sketchbook traditionally is a much longer process than it is on the iPad. I feel like because I've been digitally illustrating for so long now, it always was one of my favourite ways to illustrate, even back when I was like 11-12 years old and I used to illustrate with my little mouse on my computer before I even had a graphics tablet. I've always been drawn to digital illustration, and that's why I started getting sketchbooks back in, I think it was like 2016, 2015, when I wanted to develop my style. But I feel like now that my style is developed, doing sketches in my sketchbook is more a therapeutic thing than it is a product development thing for me, because it actually takes longer. However, it is good for like brainstorming, doing ideas, and I also had a lot of fun using my pens and pencils. I literally only did one page in my sketchbook, that's all I did. Do think I'm naturally more of a digital illustration kind of person, and now with my iPad, what I love about that is I will use it like a sketchbook, but then I can go on to develop the full product, whereas with this it's like an extra added step. However, I use this more as a way to kind of have fun with illustration again. I don't feel like it's a necessary step for me personally. It used to be though, and it was a way that I developed my style very early on, because I used to illustrate every single day. I would do a drawing prompt, I would use my sketchbook, and I think that helped me develop my digital style, ironically, because I took the techniques that I used in my sketchbook and I applied that to digital painting, which I never used to do before. Like I say, I always used to kind of be a digital artist and not a traditional artist. I've always been jealous of people who are just fantastic at traditional painting, but the thing is, I have not practiced it enough to build up my skill level for it. I am actually going to use some of these illustrations for pins, and I actually started drawing some of the line art last night. So if anyone's been an original follower of this channel, you will have seen what I used to do is I used to draw in my sketchbook, and then I would take a picture and then I would draw over the lines and then create a pin or whatever. I actually drew the line art, I don't know if you can see that. I think this one will make such a cute pin, and I'm thinking of having that as like a little mini pin. But one thing I do want to do is I want to do Satsuma the cat. I am going to now finish up doing some more sketches. I need to get the pin sent off. Let's get to it, shall we? To get inspiration and plan out exactly what I want for a collection, I like to create a digital mood board, kind of like a Pinterest board where I collect imagery with colour ideas, illustration ideas and more. My original ideas for this collection came from a traditional British spring. Here we have daffodils sprouting across the roadsides, along with new ducklings and goslings. Last year, when me and Dean were driving to work, we actually seen a mum swan and her baby cygnets waddling along the grass. That was one of the inspirations that actually kick-started this whole collection. I actually created an illustration of Satsuma the cat with the little ducklings last year in my calendar when the original collection was meant to go live, but like I mentioned earlier in the vlog, I ended up postponing this collection to this year. One thing I want to do in 2024 is actually offer more coloured themed collections. I love pink, as you probably know, but I have realised not everyone does, and most of my collections have a pink or purple theme. So in 2024 I wanted to appeal to those Marshies who like the world of Katnipp but maybe have been put off purchasing because of the heavily pink themed items. The colours I had in mind for this spring were warm golden yellows, browns and cottage greens, and I got a lot of this inspiration from the cottagecore aesthetic trend. I'm hoping by adding a new collection with a new colour palette, those of you who maybe don't like pink might find this more appealing. So good.
So if you have no idea, I do have a podcast. And I upload that podcast every other week. I had no idea about this, but there are 7 types of rest. And so that sounded like...
I think I'm gonna go for a coffee. I'm tired today and I need to draw more. So I'm gonna go to House of Foliage, I think, with my sketchbook. I'm wearing like double coat. Right, see you in a bit. I've mentioned this a few times in my videos before, but I find it really difficult to sit in one place at a time and illustrate. There's some amazing artists out there who can just sit and illustrate for hours, but that's not me. I feel like my limit is around 45 minutes and then I start getting really antsy, my shoulders start hurting. I just really struggle to just like sit and illustrate for probably longer than 45 minutes. We could do Katnipp air fresheners. That would be so cute. Because it would make a cute car accessory. To combat the fatigue I get sitting in one place at a time, one thing I have found that has really helped me is moving around and cafe hopping. I feel like it's a nice way to switch things up, but the problem is I'm from a really small town which is slowly dying, especially the high street, and there isn't really many coffee shops to cafe hop with. Actually, when I was in my old studio in Mass, there were a lot more on the high street. If you guys have watched my older studio vlogs, I used to always visit one called Craig's, and he actually makes the best sourdough. It was so yummy. Hello. Hello. Oh, this little dog's coming to sit next to me. Hello there. This coffee shop opened last year and is a plant shop too, so it's pretty cool to sit inside. They even do like brief and foliage classes, which I think will be so fun. It's a real shame though that the high street is dying. I wish they opened up the opportunity for affordable rent. This would mean that more small businesses could open up, and I really believe the town would flourish again, but alas. Anyway, I ended up enjoying a matcha latte and finishing 2 sets of illustrations, but I still had a few more to finish, and I actually went to Manchester at the weekend and cafe hopped around to finish the next sets up. I actually have just uploaded a cozy day diaries on my personal channel if you want to see what I got up to then. I feel so lucky to live in a day as well where you can illustrate on your iPad. Honestly, I started when I was around 11 years old and used to illustrate with a mouse. I then moved up to a graphics tablet, and you would have no choice but to be glued to your monitor. I remember I used to come in from school and the first thing I would do is turn on my computer, cozy up in my little tiny box room and illustrate, spending hours and hours of my time scrolling through a site called DeviantArt, which at the time was like an artist social media site. Now that I think of it, this can't have been good for my eyes because these were the early noughties and the monitors were like, you know, those massive chunky box ones that used to have like pixel dots and the lines would go up the screen. That really can't have been good for my like 11-year-old eyes. Anyway, over the course of the weekend I managed to finish 3 pages of illustrations. The first page I started on was this mum and her ducklings. I thought this could actually make a really cute greeting cards range as well, but since I'm aiming for a late March, early April launch, I will probably miss Mother's Day in the UK, which is a little bit of a shame, but I think I will still make the cards based off this because I just love how they turned out, and and like I mentioned earlier, I had enamel pins and stickers in mind for these illustrations. And look at the little tiny duckling, and don't you think that will make a super cute mini pin? I don't know if you spotted as well, but the little daffodil illustration also looks like a little duck foot, which I thought was a cute touch since I wanted to bring out a full collectible pin range, and I think this will tie in so nicely all together. The second page was Satsuma the cat. I think I need to start making proper character reference sheets to make sure all my illustrations are cohesive. What I usually do is put an image of my characters in the same page, and I use that as a base reference, but it would be good if I had a full reference sheet of my characters with different side views so I can easily reference the characters when I'm illustrating. I sometimes draw characters from my head, particularly Bumblebutt, because I have illustrated him so many times, but relying on my mind to completely reference the characters isn't the best shout, because there have been many times I have missed something. I've actually missed Bumblebutt's wings a few times, but let's just pretend he was flapping them so fast you couldn't see it, alright? The final page was Bumblebutt, one of the best-selling characters here at Katnipp. I'd actually love to know what your favourite character is at Katnipp and why. It's so interesting to me to see what characters people relate to and why. And I personally love Gingy, since a lot of his sweet personality is actually based off my husband Dean, but funnily enough, it's Dean's least favourite character, poor Gingy. Anyway, I've been trying something different with these last two studio vlogs after listening to your feedback and adding my voiceovers. I would love to know your opinions on this. Do you like this more storytelling approach? Have you been enjoying these voiceovers and my thought process? Or do you prefer my older ones with less talking? Let me know below, and I'll see you next week when we will be fully developing the spring range and designing brand new products. Alright then. Thank you so much for watching. I love you. Goodbye.